What if I told you that a single, ordinary decision, something so small you wouldn't even remember making it, could quietly destroy an entire life without anyone noticing until it was far too late? Not a crime, not a scandal, not a dramatic mistake, just one simple choice that felt harmless in the moment. Have you ever wondered how many lives didn't collapse all at once, but slowly, silently, choice by choice? This story isn't about a villain. It's not about a hero either. It's about someone like you, someone intelligent, capable, and someone who never woke up thinking, today I'll ruin my life. Because that's not how it happens. It never is. It began on an ordinary morning, the kind that feels identical to 1,000 others. Alarm buzzing, sunlight leaking through the curtains, a phone vibrating on the nightstand. He lay there for a moment, staring at the ceiling, already tired before the day had even started. Not physically tired. Something deeper, the kind of tiredness that sleep doesn't fix. He had plans once, big ones. Clear ones. He used to imagine his future vividly, as if it were a place he was definitely going to visit. But somewhere along the way, that future started to feel less real, more like a story he used to believe in. Life had become about getting through the day, not building toward something. That morning, his phone buzzed again. A message from his boss. A reminder about a presentation he hadn't finished. He felt the familiar tightness in his chest, that mix of pressure and avoidance. And then came the decision. Small. Almost invisible. I'll do it later. That was it. Not I quit. Not I don't care. Just later. Have you noticed how harmless that word sounds? Later feels safe. Responsible, even. Later implies intention. It tells your conscience, I haven't given up. I'm just postponing. But postponement has a quiet power. It doesn't fight you. It waits. He rolled over, silenced the phone, and stayed in bed just a few minutes longer. Those minutes turned into rushing through the morning. Skipping breakfast, leaving the house already behind. On the drive to work, his mind replayed the same thoughts it always did. I'll catch up tonight. I work better under pressure. Everyone falls behind sometimes, and that's the danger. When your excuses sound reasonable, they don't feel like excuses at all. The presentation didn't go well. Not disastrously. No shouting, no firing, no dramatic confrontation, just a subtle look from his boss. A pause. A disappointed nod. Those moments don't hurt much at first. They sting lightly, like a paper cut. But paper cuts add up. He went home that evening, feeling heavy. But instead of working, he did what he'd done the night before. And the night before that, he reached for distraction. A show. Social media. Something easy. Something that didn't ask anything of him. Tell me this honestly. How many times have you chosen comfort over effort just for one night? At first, nothing seemed wrong. Bills were paid. He still showed up. People still laughed at his jokes. From the outside, his life looked stable, but inside, something was shifting. Every time he delayed a responsibility, a quiet message embedded itself in his mind. You can't be trusted. Not by others. By himself. Psychologists call this self-efficacy, the belief that you can rely on your own actions. And when that belief cracks, motivation doesn't disappear suddenly. It erodes. Slowly. Silently. Weeks passed. Then months. Small decisions stacked up like invisible bricks. Skipping the gym. Ignoring a friend's call. Saying no to opportunities because they felt overwhelming. Each choice made sense on its own. Together, they built a prison. He started waking up anxious. Not about anything specific. Just a vague sense that something was wrong. He couldn't name it, so he couldn't fix it. And when you can't name a problem, you start blaming yourself instead. What's wrong with me? He wondered. Why can't I just get it together? Here's the cruel part. The more overwhelmed you feel, the smaller your decisions become. You stop thinking about long-term consequences and start thinking about immediate relief. And relief is seductive. Relief whispers, just survive today. One night, scrolling endlessly on his phone, he saw a photo of an old friend. Same age, same background, but the friend looked confident, grounded, successful, and something inside him twisted. Not jealousy exactly, something heavier. Regret mixed with confusion. How did they get there while I'm here? He didn't realize it, but the question itself revealed the truth. He hadn't ended up here by accident. He had walked here one small decision at a time. There was another moment. A pivotal one. A chance to reverse course. His boss offered him a training opportunity. More responsibility. More challenge. It scared him deeply. And fear is clever. Fear doesn't say, don't grow. It says, this isn't the right time. So he declined. Politely. Reasonably. That was the decision that changed everything. Because when you say no to growth long enough, life stops offering it. The job became routine, then stagnant, then meaningless. His performance slipped further. Not because he lacked ability, but because he no longer believed effort mattered. Eventually, layoffs came. Not personal. Just numbers. And just like that, the structure holding his days together disappeared. Unemployment didn't break him instantly. At first it felt like freedom. Time to breathe, time to reset, but without discipline, time becomes weight. Days blended together, applications went unfinished. Rejections felt personal, confidence collapsed quietly. Friends stopped calling as often. Not out of cruelty, just life moving on. He avoided gatherings because he didn't want to answer the question everyone asks without thinking. So, what are you doing these days? Isolation crept in, disguised as rest. Here's something no one tells you. Rock bottom isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's a slow fading. A dimming of ambition. A shrinking of your world. Years passed. The dreams he once had felt embarrassing to remember. He told himself he was being realistic now. Mature. But realism without hope is just surrender wearing a suit. And it all traced back to that first decision. Not the job, not the presentation, not the layoff. The decision to delay discomfort, to choose later instead of now. So, let me ask you something uncomfortable. What small decision are you making right now that your future self will pay for? What responsibility are you postponing that's quietly shaping who you're becoming? Because life doesn't punish us for one big mistake. It reflects our patterns back to us. Here's the lesson most people learn too late. Discipline isn't about intensity. It's about consistency. Growth doesn't come from dramatic moments. It comes from unglamorous choices made when no one is watching. The power you think you've lost hasn't vanished. It's been deferred. And deferred power can still be reclaimed, but only the same way it was lost. One small decision at a time. Not tomorrow. Not later. Now. Because the smallest decision today is already writing the story of who you will be 5 years from now. And the question is no longer whether small decisions matter. The question is whether you'll be conscious enough to choose the right one before it chooses for you. This story isn't a warning. It's an invitation to pause, to notice, to take responsibility, not for your entire future, but for the next decision you make after this video ends. That's how lives are destroyed, and that's how they're rebuilt.